Hey guys, so should I have an accounting business logo? So I get asked this question a lot, right? And it's blessedly getting a lot less every single year, right? So every single year I've been in business, and I've been not only running my accounting and bookkeeping firm since 2015, but I've also had the pleasure of mentoring people since 2018. So it's like back in 2015, everything was like, you need a logo and a cool business name, like a website. Now it's people are starting to come around because there's a lot of big influencers online that are big without necessarily having a logo. So it's a really cool kind of time for people to actually see the truth when it comes to marketing and not just feel like they have to do stuff just because someone tells them they need to do something. Number one, a logo will not fix unclear positioning. So a lot of people, when they're first getting started, you're kind of latching for different things that show that you know what you're talking about. Whether it's you want to have more credentials, you want to have a website, you want to have a bunch of different things so that people can see you and they can feel like they trust you. Now, a lot of that can come from internal, can actually make this business work, and it's very easy to feel that, and it's very normal to feel that, because when you're starting, there's all these people. I see people like Bryce have been in business for 10 years. I see these like CPAs that have been in business like 40 years. It's like, how can I like stand up against that? Especially if I don't have any experience. I don't have any like business experience, right? This is my first time starting a business. I have no clients, right? So I kind of latch on to different things that make us feel more secure. But in reality, the things that you actually need are going to be your offer. It's gonna be basically like lead flow as well as proof of skill set. Okay, so we can talk about offer clarity first, right? So just knowing what you're selling, right? So are you gonna be selling information structuring services? Are you gonna be doing monthly bookkeeping? Are you gonna be doing cleanup bookkeeping, right? Are you gonna be doing tax planning? Are you gonna be doing tax preparation for business versus tax preparation for individuals, right? Knowing kind of the services that you offer are going to be very helpful, because then you can start learning how to communicate the value of those different services and what type of potential client resonates the most with that. For example, a bookkeeping, let's say like monthly bookkeeping, that does not resonate with business owners that are under a certain size, right? So really it's like the kind of cutoff we've seen is like once a business gets to about 500, 600,000 and they start going above, those are the kind of people that will understand why they need bookkeeping. If it's below that, right, so let's say it's $100,000 a year, $200,000 a year, where it's like a solopreneur kind of owner, right, and they're just trying to recreate whatever income they had from their old job, they are more focused on taxes, right? So taxes, tax savings, getting tax returns. It's not that they don't need bookkeeping, it's just not really on the forefront of their mind. So when you're starting to think of what are you actually offering, you start to understand like who is the right person for me. Now, the cool thing is like the smaller the company, and when I say smaller, like right around 200 to about 400,000, that's a weird zone, because what I found is like business owners that are very, very small, all they know is, do you have references? Do you have this? They can be very demanding in what they're asking for. Do you have this? 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 And it's not that they're trying to discredit you. It's just that their lack of knowledge causes them to be looking for outward signs, similar to how you are, right? So if they're starting their business and everyone thinks I need credibility, I need this, they're looking for that. Versus as a business owner gets more experience, maybe they've hired people who have had credibility but have been not very good. That's one thing you're gonna notice. Like a lot of times people have a lot of credibility, a lot of letters behind their names. They generally tend to not operate like a startup business owner should, or like what a startup business owner needs. So what does that look like? Their response time is trash, right? They never get back to their clients. They work only when they want to work, right? They basically they act like they're like retired essentially. And a lot of those clients that they have, especially the smaller ones, get frustrated with that. It's like, why do they never respond to me? They treat me kind of like a side project. Are they even really still in the business? So then what they start looking for is, as they get more established, they're looking for vendors or professional service people that are very attentive, they're very structured, they have skill set, and they're like just like there, right? So like the person that's there and like in their face being consistent is going to do a lot better than someone who just has a bunch of letters behind their name, right? So you have to start understanding that and seeing that, and then what happens is, now that you have the offer, now you start understanding who you're going after. You have to see what is the proof, like the minimum viable proof that they need in order to want to work with you, whether it's you explaining your skill set. So one reason why I think if you're a beginner at something, you should be making a lot of content. Now, if you've worked in accounting, or maybe you've done bookkeeping for your job in like corporate America, you don't necessarily need to have that. You have enough skill set, you have enough experience that we can leverage on paper to show why you'd continue to be good at that job. But if you have no experience whatsoever and you're very insecure, it'd be better use of your time to make content showing people that you are either learning or improving on the skill set that you're trying to sell. That's one thing, yeah. Whenever you're starting a new business, you should be like, just turn to a publisher. Writing different things that you're learning every single day. Writing stories of people that you're helping. Writing stories of people you've seen being helped. So that's one thing you can do, right? Let's say that you're doing like tax planning or tax strategy, some people will call it, right? And you have talked to a CPA and they basically gave you an outline of a tax plan they just did for a person, how much money they saved. You going and like reporting on, hey, this is what I saw, this is what I learned, this is how they did this was the thought process behind this. You can use that in your content. Now people feel like, oh, this person knows what to talk about even further, right? So the number of times you can be seen showing what you're doing is going to be exponentially easier. And then the third thing is, once you have that initial proof, once you have that initial like showing of your skills and what you do, then it's about lead flow, right? Because remember, when you have the offer, you're learning who is a good fit for that offer. Then you figure out like what do you have to show them in order for them to feel like they can trust you. Then you have to go and get more of those people. So it's really cool where it's like you have to then start thinking about, how do I find more people that are like my ideal clients, and how can I write more content that will attract more people like them? So that could be getting them to share with a friend, getting them to like it, getting them to watch more if you're making videos, right? And then getting out there as much as possible. Now, the next thing, so let's say, okay, so we're talking about like a logo, right? So everyone's okay, if I don't need a logo, like what is the minimum amount of branding that I need, okay? So you need to have just very consistent colors, clear headlines, and then you want to have a very consistent tone/style, right? So when you're making your content, when you're showing up online, you almost want to have a person have an idea of you in their head that is satisfactory, and maintain that idea as long as you possibly can. Now, when I say that means so you're writing your content, right? The minute you stop, now they forget about you. So you're not maintaining that, right? Or you can improve on that image, right? So you make better quality content. So now they see you in this light, but now they see you a little higher in that same light, so that they see you as this person over time. Because when it comes to marketing and sales, especially in a professional services business like this, time is going to be your biggest friend, right? Generally in an industry like ours, where the business owners are going to be in business for a long time, you never feel like you really lose leads, right? You just want to make sure that as you get more leads over time, you maximize your lead flow and you maximize the number of people that actually buy with you, okay? Now, the next thing is, after you've gotten to maybe 10K per month, okay, now you can maybe start getting a logo if you really want to. So that's like when you start scaling your ads, when you start hiring. Now, it's not that important. I got a logo. Why did I get a logo? Oh yeah, we wanted to try like government contracting, and they wanted us to put in like a logo. So we basically did that, and I use that logo every so often. Excuse me, especially like my marketing videos and stuff. But it was like, I've never had someone come to me and be like, wow. Actually, no, that's not true. I had one person after they bought me be like, oh, I recognize that logo. But it was like one person after we've had like hundreds of clients. I've never had someone be like, you don't have a logo, I can't trust you, I can't work with you. Now, one example of this was like a client. So I had a student in our mentorship program, and she was really like, I need a logo, I need this, I need a website, I need that. And I was like, hey, let's just go straight to clients. Let's go straight to the market. You have enough experience, you have enough of this. She had worked as like an AR she worked in AP for I think 4 years. And it's just, she was just so nervous because she didn't have business experience. She had working experience, but she had business experience. So she's like, I need a website and a logo. I was like, nope. So then she went behind my back. She's like, okay, I actually went and found like a logo designer on, it wasn't Fiverr, but it was like some like random website, maybe like Upwork. And then I was like, bro, why are you doing this? This doesn't make sense. You're just spending money that you don't need to spend. And she was like, I just think this. Okay. So after about a week and a half, we come back on a coaching call, and the logo design, like she was basically in tears. The logo designer just messed up the logo completely. It was just really bad looking. And she was just in tears. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so bad. I thought this would like represent my business, and I have to do it again and wait for blah, 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 blah. And I was like, hey, it's already been a week and a half. We've been trying to do this thing for last month. Can we just focus on the one thing that matters, which at this stage is just getting in front of people so we can show off the stuff we do already have? She goes, yes. So we started going after clients, and she was finally on board. And then she basically had, within the next, by the end of the next month, she had 3 contracts that were already signed up with her. So it's just like, When you do the stuff that matters, you can move forward very quickly. When you do the stuff that doesn't really matter, it's just not really there. Yeah. Next thing is, do I need an accounting business website? So similar with the logo, the short answer is not yet. It really will depend on what you're trying to do with that. But in short, like, you need conversations before you need pixels on your webpage. Now, the key with the website, so a lot of people historically, okay, and this is like a really older kind of mentality. So there were two main reasons why people would get a website. The first one was for the credibility, kind of like the same thing like the logo, right? But the second thing was a website used to be able to drive traffic to you, right? That was what people call SEO, search engine optimization. Now, back in the day on Google, you put up a website, you maybe get some visitors, and you go. They always change the rule on like the visibility, so like you're never gonna get quite as much as what you could like 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. The best time to make a website was probably like 15 years ago. Now, there are a lot of incumbents that have been there. So like, for example, let's say you're gonna try and do like accounting or bookkeeping services near me. Number one, you don't just start at the top of the searches, you start at the bottom. So you start on page like 500. You're like, Bryce, there's not that many accountants or CPAs or bookkeepers in my area. So yeah, but a lot of people have multiple websites that they're using to try and rank higher on Google. Not to mention, you're actually going to be below Upwork, you're going to be below Bark, below Thumbtack, below, and just a bunch of different like of these directories that are very large. So you're not going to get the visibility or the traffic that you think you're going to get. Okay, so traffic's out. You're not going to get views from your website, right? Okay, so if that's the case, is it going to make you more credible? The answer is it depends, right? In a lot of cases, you don't necessarily need to have the website being the place of credibility. You need to have relationships, right? So don't think of credibility as being the static thing, as either you have it or you don't have it. Think about it as like you are earning your credibility within each conversation, each relationship you have. But what that also means is that if you start low on the credibility scale, the more that you interact with the person, the higher your credibility goes up. Whereas most people think, oh, I have a website, so if they see it, they're gonna be like, I'm credible, they're gonna buy from me. So if someone's asking you for the website, it just means that when you've been communicating with them, the amount of credibility that you've built up, or the lack thereof, has not reached a certain threshold for that person to trust you and to respect what you're bringing to the table. So they're going to try and do their own independent research. So they're going to go try and look at a website, look at your social media profile to go and determine in their mind, is this person credible? So trying to build that credibility on their own. But the problem with that is that your website in a lot of cases is not going to be designed when you're first getting started in a way that will answer the right questions in the right order and with the right amount of explanation for them to build a favorable outcome, because you just don't have the marketing chops yet, like you just don't have the skill set. So instead, if you can control the conversation, and even preferably if you can make content before they get to the call, you would have built that trust and that respect before they get there. You see, the best time to build respect and trust is not after your consultation call, it's before your consultation call. So you can shorten up like the amount of time to speak to them and get them to work, right? Now, there will come a time to where you will start advertising. If you start advertising, right, I would maybe start having what we call proof assets. So number one, right, you have to have a very good LinkedIn profile. And like inside of our mentorship program, like we give you profile templates of what you can actually use inside. Second one's a one-page proof document. So we call it your business resume. We give that to you as well. The next thing is, okay, so once you start getting clients, once you start thinking about like advertising, like maybe you run like Facebook ads or Google ads or YouTube ads, right? Then you need to actually have a website we can tell people to go to, right? So it depends what you're offering too, right? So let's say that you're offering like tax planning. You could have a dynamic website in what's called School or a Facebook group, right? I like School actually because like you can make video courses, written courses that people can go through and consume. So they're understanding like the brand of Bryce Tubbs because more of a dynamic website. But if you don't use that and you just want to have just a website or like a landing page, they call it, okay, I would get like maybe like a minimum viable website. So a one-page website where it has like basically the home, what do you offer, who do you help, an about section for you, maybe have like your picture next to like a little bio of you that builds credibility. After that, have like how can someone actually connect with you or contact you, right? And you have it where it can scroll down to the bottom. You don't want to spend a million years trying to make this. I would even have ChatGPT create the wording for you if you're like not the best like writing stuff. Just get it just quick, out of the way and get it moving, right? So like for me, for example, I built a landing page for one of my advertisements last week. It took me probably about 5 minutes to do. And then that thing is probably giving me about anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000 since the last like week and a half, right? That's speed. That's like focus. But I had a need for it because I was sending people there via my advertisements, right? But if you're not running advertisements, it's not really a reason for you to do that. Now, how to avoid procrastination. So let's say you do get to the point where like you want to build a website. Again, do not use it as a procrastination tool. It needs to be either a weapon or it needs to be something that you actually need to use in the moment, right? So if you need to make it, just like I said, make a simple one-page website, use ChatGPT on the wording if you need to, and just get it done. Please do not take a week to do that. That should take you no more than probably about 5 days, if that. And again, I would do that like after you've done all of your marketing activities, after you've done everything else in your business. Do not make that like the first thing you do in your day, okay? Like again, it's not going to help you the way that you think it is, okay? Now, if you want more help on what actually does, like maybe, hey Bryce, like I don't have that much credibility, so I'm trying to build this like website, I'm trying to build this stuff to build up my confidence, my credibility. I can just show you what actually matters. What does real confidence look like? What is the minimum viable skill set you need? And how do you know if you have enough credibility for you to be able to go and start taking on clients? So if you want some help understanding that, if you want some help growing your business, click the link inside of the description down below this video. If you're on like a phone, you have to click on like that circle with my face on it. It'll open up this description with like different links that you can go do and like different resources as well as like booking a call, okay? So go ahead and click that. I will see you inside the call, see if I can help you out, okay? Cool.